What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So this is off of a fan's suggestion, and I'm just gonna get right into it. These are the top 10 rising stars for the Democratic Party. I might do this for the Republicans. There aren't as many of them for the Republicans, but sure. Okay, let's get right into this. So number 10 is Amy McGrath. Now she has not held an elected office yet, but is certainly a really interesting candidate because she made a seat in Kentucky. Uh, it was a seat that had gone to the Republicans, I think, by 16 points to the previous election. It was a very popular incumbent, very competitive. She lost it by, I think, 2 points, which was a huge swing. It was Kentucky's 5th congressional district. She lost to Andy Barr barely and raised $8 million. Even though it was a rural area of Kentucky. She's also now running for Senate, and she is in a close primary against Charles Booker. She had for a while, it looked like she was going to be the nominee, but Charles Booker, he has a good shot at it. Charles Booker is more progressive. She's more of a moderate, but Charles Booker could be a rising star, but as of right now, she has more name recognition. And, it could be interesting to see how she does in the future. Alright, number 9 is Gavin Newsom. He's the current governor of California. He's gotten a lot of attention for his handling of COVID-19, because California is the biggest state, yet has one of the smallest ratios of COVID-19 for every 100,000 people, and is just pretty well known across the country. He is popular in California. He's easily going to win a second term, and he's pretty well known, popular, I guess. So I do expect him to run for president in 2024. Maybe he's only 50 years old, so he's still pretty young. Number 8 is Andrew Cuomo. Now Andrew Cuomo is a little bit older. I think he's 60 or 50. He's 58. But still, he has easily the most name recognition of any governor in America because of his stellar handling of the COVID-19 pandemic in New York. Just like a month and a half ago, they were having 10,000 cases, 10,000 new cases every day. Now they're at like 800, which is very good because they were the epicenter of the outbreak for a good 1.5 months, maybe even 2. Now the epicenters of the outbreak are in Texas and Florida, but they were nowhere near as bad as New York. But they're nowhere near as bad as New York was a month ago. So he's very popular in New York. From what I've heard, he has a lot of name recognition. There is some talk of the Democrats replacing Joe Biden with him, but I don't think they're going to do that. He could run in 2024. And a lot of people really like him. Number 7 is Abby Finkenauer. She's probably the least well-known person on this list. She's a congresswoman from Iowa, and she flipped that district in 2018. So she's a freshman. She's only been in Congress for 2 years. Actually, more like only 1.5. But she has a tight race in 2020, and I think she's gonna win. She's popular there. She is only 31, so she's very young. I don't expect her to run for president anytime soon, but again, she could be the future of the Democrats winning in the Midwest because, as you know, the Midwest, especially her home state of Iowa, is trending to the right. So if the Democrats want to get that back, they could, in the future, they could run Finkenauer, and she'd have a very good shot at flipping it back blue. Number 6 is Joaquin Castro. Now, he is the twin brother of Julian Castro, who is pretty well known. And Julian Castro does have a future in the Democratic Party. But we're going to be talking about Joaquin. And I say this because I believe he was the former mayor of San Antonio. My bad. He was the former mayor of San Antonio, and overall, I expected him to run in 2020, just because of his name recognition, but His brother ran instead, so it'll be interesting to see. I do think he has a future in the party. He's done a lot for the party, and I think that he does certainly have a future. Number 5 is Ilhan Omar. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm pretty sure I am, though. She is a congresswoman from Minnesota. So what I think is so interesting is that she is, she's kind of, what I would say is she's kind of like, she's very progressive, but also I guess you could say that she isn't as progressive as AOC. I think she got all her name recognition from the Squad, which is a group of 4 women in Congress who were of foreign descent. Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, obviously Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and I'm forgetting her name, Rashida Tlaib. So it'll be interesting to see if she does run for president or go further in her home state of Minnesota. She's currently only a congresswoman from Minneapolis, so she could run for governor, maybe Senate. But yes, it'll be very interesting to see what she does in the future, and I'm excited to see what she does for her party. She's pretty popular, but there was some one controversial thing that she did. The alt-right media did this to her, but she gave a speech in I believe April of 2019, and she was talking about 9/11, and she said some people did some bad stuff, which was obviously, it was just a dumb thing to say. I think she knows the severity of it, because she was talking about prejudice against Islamic people, because a few Islamic people did do, as she said, some bad stuff. But the alt-right media kind of made it sound like she was downplaying it, and she had no respect for those people who had died or gotten injured because of it. So that did kind of hurt her popularity, but it's not really a big deal, and I expect her to be back in the national stage very soon. Number 4 is Pete Buttigieg. Now, Pete Buttigieg, I am going to be honest, I think that he could have, I don't think he should have ran for president in 2020. Yes, it did get his name recognition up a ton, and now he certainly does have a future, and it was good for him, but I think he should have ran for maybe a governor of Indiana, because there's an election in 2020. But I do think that he's going to run for Senate in Indiana in 2022, because Todd Young, who is not very, doesn't really have a ton of name recognition, is the incumbent, and he's not super popular, but not super unpopular. And Buttigieg would have a good shot at flipping it. Yes, certainly interesting to see. Now, if he was the Democratic Party's nominee, he would be the first openly gay nominee for president for a major political party, and he would be the first gay president. So what I think is so fascinating about Buttigieg is that his name recognition, I think, mostly comes from his presidential run, but he has not had a great history. The only thing I'll say, definitely a rising star, but he has not done great again in statewide elections. He's only ran one, to his credit, but he only got, I think, 30% of the vote in the one that he ran. He ran for treasurer of Indiana against Richard Murdoch. And again, this was before he said that horrible stuff about rape, but Richard Murdoch, he lost in 2012 to Joe Donnelly in the Indiana Senate race. That's how weak he was. He said that if a woman is raped, it is from the grace of God, which is pretty disgusting, in my opinion. You can tell me in the comment section below that I'm a horrible person for saying that, but rape is a horrible thing. I'm not going to go into that, but so yes, certainly interesting to see what he does in the future. I think the Democrats should try to Chuck Schumer should try to recruit him to run for Senate in 2022 in Indiana, because 2022, I think 2020 is a good Senate map for the Democrats. 2022 is even better. It's their best opportunity to flip a ton of seats, and that'll be interesting to watch. And Buttigieg could just only help the Republicans, or help the Democrats in Indiana. Number 3 is Val Demings. Now, I didn't know a ton about her until she kind of came to the front of Joe Biden's VP search. But what I will say is that she was the former police chief of Orlando. Now, obviously, she is a congresswoman for the Democrats, But she was the former police chief of Orlando, and she has a very clean record overall. I watched an LTE video. I'm a big fan of LTE. If you aren't sub to him, you should sub to him. But I watched one of his videos, and it was about how there are only 3 candidates left for Joe Biden's VP, and one of them was Val Demings, Susan Rice, and Kamala Harris, all women of color, obviously. And I said in the comment section that he should choose Val Demings. So yes, it'll be. I hope if Biden wants to win the election, out of those 3, Val Demings is easily the best option. All right, number 2 is Joe Kennedy. Oh, by the way, I do expect him to pick Val Demings, and that'll only help her name recognition if she's the VP nominee. And right now, it looks like if the election were to be held today, Biden would probably win, and so she could be our next vice president. All right, now number 2 is Joe Kennedy. Now, Joe Kennedy, what I think is so interesting about him is that he is kind of he's primary challenging an incumbent popular Democratic senator, and he is the favorite right now. In my Senate election nights, or in all of my my full election nights that include the Senate, I always have Joe Kennedy as the nominee. Now, we could see Ed Markey get the nomination, and for those of you who don't know, I'm a big Ed Markey fan. I'm rooting for him 100%. But right now, I put my bias away and realize that Joe Kennedy, he has a famous last name, and he's leading in nearly all the polls. So it looks like he'll be the nominee. I probably give him like a 70% chance of winning the Democratic nomination in Massachusetts. And honestly, whoever wins the Democratic nomination in Massachusetts is going to win the Senate race there easily. So, anyways, Kennedy is a rising star because he gave the Democratic response to Donald Trump's State of the Union in 2018. It was a very good speech. I encourage you to watch it. I think it's on CNN somewhere. And second, he is a congressman from Massachusetts, his 4th congressional district, I believe. And I think he's been serving since 2010, 2012. I'm not sure. But he has all the name recognition. He has the famous last name, probably the most famous last name in the history of American politics as of right now. So yes, I want to see what he does in the future. I think he could run for president. There was some speculation about him running for president in 2020. He did not do that, so it'll be interesting to see what he does in the future. And I'm saying that a ton, but it will be interesting. Now, number 1 is pretty obvious. It's AOC. Now, AOC, I'll say one thing about her. She's polarizing. I know a lot of people who love her, and I know a lot of people who hate her. As of right now, there hasn't been a poll on her approval rating. But I mean, I really think that if the Democrats want to win a presidential election, AOC is not the person to nominate. Now, again, I'm a progressive. I love AOC. I think she'd make a terrific president, and I'm gonna be upfront about that. However, if they want a progressive person to win an election, they probably should go with maybe Bernie Sanders would be better than AOC, and Bernie Sanders I think would have a decent shot, but not a great shot. Anyways, we're not talking about electability right now, which is a hot topic for most. I mean, all the progressives I know they always talk about how electability is fake and all that stuff. In that it's a trap, and that Joe Biden can never win an election. But I think that's their bias talking. I need to accept that. Unfortunately for me, sometimes the candidates that I like are not the strongest to take on Donald Trump. Oops. So going back to AOC, she pulled an insane upset. I did not even think she was going to win. I totally, sorry AOC, but I totally wrote her off back in 2018. She won, and I think she's going to win again. In 2020, she is a representative from New York's 20-something. I'm forgetting what district it is, but it's around New York City, and it's certainly. And I think that she's going to run for a position higher than governor or higher than Congress. She could run for Senate, governor, maybe even president. So yes, she has a very bright future. I mean, she's only 30, so she has 50 more years of politics left in her. I mean, and if you imagine 80-year-old AOC being in politics, hey. Mitch McConnell is 80, and he's running for another 6-year term. Jim Inhofe is 85, and he's running for another 6-year term. Joe Biden is 77, and he's running for a 4-year term at the presidency. So politicians, they don't retire until they're like 85. So AOC has a bright future ahead of her, and and I think that she is definitely going to run for something higher than Congress in New York. All right, so that's it. There are some honorable mentions I'm going to mention. First, I want to mention Laura Kelly, who's the governor of Kansas. Now, Laura Kelly is an interesting candidate because she beat Chris Kobach in the 2018 Kansas gubernatorial election. I know it was a blue wave year, blah 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 blah, but she's popular there. She's known as the education governor because she invests in education. She's pretty progressive. I mean, she won in Kansas, so it'll be interesting to see her her future. There was some talk like the night or day after the debate. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning way too much. That Joe Biden announced that he was going to be picking a woman as his VP. There was some talk about maybe Laura Kelly, that kind of thing. And of course, I forgot. Well, so I'm not going to say forgot, but I didn't put Stacey Abrams in here for a reason. Stacey Abrams is not as well known as AOC. Joe Kennedy, probably better known than Val Demings, less than Pete Buttigieg, less than Ilhan Omar, more than Castro, more than Finkenauer for sure, less than Cuomo, but about the same as Newsom, and more than McGrath. But I say this because she lost a gubernatorial election to Brian. And to be honest, she should have won. I mean, there was voter suppression. They ran out of provisional ballots, and that was a ridiculous election. I was very angry when Brian Kemp won because it was pretty clear that he wasn't going to win if the election had been free and fair. But whatever. You're not going to mope about the Georgia gubernatorial race. I think that Stacey Abrams kind of had her shot, and I think she got rejected by Biden. Now, I'm not going to say that she's a horrible person and that the Democratic Party should move away from her. Which, no, I love Stacey Abrams. I'm actually reading her book right now. But Stacey Abrams, I think that she needs to run for governor of Georgia again, challenge Brian Kemp or something, or run for Senate. She didn't run for Senate. I think that was her big opportunity. But yes, as of right now, I'm not going to put her on this list because she really, I don't see her running for president in 2024. I know there's a lot of speculation about that. Yeah, it's a fun thing to imagine, but I doubt it. I think 2028 is her time. I mean, she's still young. She's only like 48, I think. But yeah, and then lastly, I'm going to mention one more person, and that's Kamala Harris. Now, Kamala Harris, she's not really a rising star. She has name recognition in California. She's had since 2016. She's currently senator there, and she'll win re-election in 2022 because California is a very, 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 very times 10 blue state. But yeah, that's it. If you think I missed out on anyone, let me know. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks I'm forgetting their name. I'm really sorry to the person who suggested it. I appreciate it so much, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.